So after a long wait, Disney's new Snow White finally came out last week, and to put it mildly, my friends, this has been a colossal mess. I mean, it's been a colossal mess since the very beginning, basically, but this release, this premiere, has been absolutely horrifying. Like, I literally found myself feeling bad for them.
In the original fairy tale, she is named Snow White because she has white skin. And that is what the name refers to. She has skin as white as snow. That's why she's named Snow White.
Critics were outraged because how dare Snow White not have fair skin?
So the Rachel Zegler controversy has reached insane heights, and Disney is contemplating redoing Snow White from scratch. But this time Zegler might be kept as distant from the project as feasible. Instead, Disney's trying to do PR recovery with a whole new strategy, casting Brett Cooper as the central figure. But can this damage truly be undone? The casting of Rachel Zegler was a blunder from the beginning. Let's rewind to when Disney revealed that Rachel Zegler, an emerging talent with Colombian and Polish ancestry, would be stepping into the role of Snow White, and the web did not hold back. Suddenly everyone became a fairy tale scholar, quoting that one line from the Brothers Grimm like they authored it themselves, skin as white as snow. Critics were furious because how dare Snow White not possess pale skin, but Rachel didn't waver. In January 2022, she fired back with flair. She said Snow White's recognized and embraced in Latin cultures too, and watching a Latina portray how is something that rarely occurs, so she was honored. Then came the shock. Turns out Rachel wasn't even the only Latina in the running. Renata Vodaka, another dynamic Latina, reached the final stage. So the part of Snow White came down to two standout women, shattering all the classic fairy tale boundaries. Renata later revealed that the casting call was inclusive to all races, and the first round involved only singing a Disney princess tune. But wait, we haven't even touched the moment that lit the whole forest up. See, Rachel wasn't exactly fond of the 1937 classic, and she voiced it publicly at the 2022 D23 Expo. She labeled the OG version outdated. She mentioned how the prince basically follows Snow White around. There's a major emphasis on her romance with a man who literally shadows her. Strange, so we skipped that this round. Then she dropped a bomb saying the updated film avoids love entirely. And if you expected the prince to get a shining hero path, think again. I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we completely wrote a Snow White that is, she's not going to be rescued by the prince. She's not going to be rescued by the prince, and she's not going to be wishing for true love. She's wishing about becoming the ruler she believes she can be. This sparked a wave of backlash. Some fans charged her with making Snow White into a corporate queen. Others said she was mocking femininity, arguing not every woman aspires to lead a company. Some even wondered, has she even seen the original? The answer was murky, but the outrage was deafening. Enter Ashton Stein, a branding consultant who publicly said Rachel clearly skipped her PR training courses, but it didn't stop there. David Hand, yes, the son of the initial co-director, added his voice too, calling the remake disgraceful. He said his dad and Walt Disney would be spinning in their graves now. That's a bold claim with some generational spice. Just when you thought the flames were cooling off, something unusual occurred. Conservative news group The Daily Wire jumped into the picture. They unveiled their own live-action interpretation, Snow White and the Evil Queen, starring Brett Cooper. They planned to restore what Disney allegedly ruined, but Brett Cooper exited the Daily Wire in December 2024, and from then on there have been zero updates, no teasers, and nothing further. So much for that showdown. Now circling back to Rachel in October 2024 she sat down with Variety and tried to explain herself. She said there actually was a romantic angle in the movie and that people misunderstood her comments. According to her, some of it was humor that didn't connect, but the web had screenshots, proof, and breakdown videos to confirm that Rachel meant what she said. So was this damage repair? Possibly, but it came off as too little. Too late for certain fans. Now let's touch on politics. After the teaser trailer premiered in August 2024, the movie triggered international uproar. BDS and PAC demanded a boycott over Gal Gadot's military past and her loyalty to Israel. That my name is Gal and I'm Jewish and we have had enough of Jew hatred. Meanwhile, Rachel openly said she supported Palestine. So yeah, the cast was suddenly on opposing ends of a global political standoff. Things got so serious that Gal Gadot began receiving threatening messages. Disney had to step in with added protection because the stakes were no longer just ticket sales. Now it was real-life danger. But strangely enough, despite all that, Gal and Rachel were supposedly cool on set. There was no friction and no awkward silence, just two co-workers doing their roles while the Globe dissected every single thing they said, wore, and engaged with on social platforms. How they pulled that off is still unclear. Then came a different boycott, this time from Republican circles after the 2024 presidential election. Why? Because Rachel posted F Donald Trump and followed it up with a remark that basically cursed his followers. The internet erupted, and soon after Rachel released a public apology. She said she didn't intend harm and that she simply wanted unity, and I can only hope that despite my shortcomings and despite my flaws and my faults, and there are many of them, that at every event and everything I attend people will line up to watch. But the harm was irreversible and the headlines had already spread. Still, Zegler's viewpoint wasn't the sole factor sinking Snow White. It was the narrative of the movie itself.